What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Red Zone Blitz. I'm your host, JD, and I'm here with David from Wake Up It's Football and James from James Carter TV. Today we're going to be talking about RG3's amazing performance and three matchups that are next week. So RG3, 320 passing yards, 3 TDs, and beat the Saints in their house. So, David, can he pull a Cam Newton, maybe break some records, or is he just going to slump off from here?
Last year, Cam Newton broke a lot of rookie records. He threw for over 4,000 passing yards. He threw for 21 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. But you cannot forget the ground game that he had. He did rush for over 700 yards and 14 touchdowns. That's going to be hard, in my opinion, to actually redo and actually have. If RG3 performs like Cam Newton did last year, but even exceeds those numbers, I'll be absolutely astonished, because what Cam Newton did last season with the defense that he had, I was surprised by it, and I wasn't expecting it out of Cam Newton. So to say RG3 is going to do that this year or even exceed that, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. I think his numbers are going to be slightly below what Cam Newton did last year, but I still think RG3 is going to be successful this season. If you ask me if the Redskins are going to make the playoffs, I would hold off on that right now. But from what I saw against the Saints, I'm telling you right now, I think RG3 will be successful in the NFL.
Oh, I gotta disagree with you here. Not only will Robert Griffin III beat Cam Newton, he will be better, and I am saying that right here because honestly, with all the nerves and all that going around, all this pressure RG3 had. Everyone in Washington is going crazy. RG3 in the season opener against the New Orleans Saints, a team that was in the playoffs last year with a 13-3 record. He comes out and he beats this team. He puts 40 points on the board. He throws 2 touchdowns, and he is amazing. He is going to be Cam Newton, but better, in my opinion. The stats may not show, only because Cam Newton, they were coming from behind, and they just, threw the ball to Steve Smith, and we all know what that's going to happen. He's going to get 4,000 yards during his rookie season. But when you look at all that, I think he's going to have less interceptions. He's going to have more touchdowns. The yards, maybe not. But when you look at the stat line, when you look at their performances using your eyeballs, you will see that Robert Griffin III did have a better rookie campaign than Cam Newton.
Yeah, but you have to understand the fact that both quarterbacks, if we're talking about rookie campaigns, both quarterbacks are rookies. These guys are brand new, fresh into the league, and these guys don't have the experience, and they are not veterans. At the same time, Cam Newton, you said he was always down, he was trailing, so he had to throw the ball. I don't think RG3 is going to do what Cam Newton did on the ground. Those 700 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns. There's some running backs in the league, top-notch running backs in the league, that don't even rush for 14 touchdowns. Granted, Cam Newton was always, running in from like the 5-yard line and the goal line. But the point is, Cam Newton came into the league as a rookie, put those numbers up. All right, now you're going to compare RG3 after one game to Cam Newton. I don't see that happening. Let's wait till RG3 plays half a season to start talking about this, because right now, after one game, yes, he threw for over 300 yards. He had a few touchdowns, no picks. That's impressive, but you have to understand, the Saints didn't have Jonathan Vilma. The Saints don't have the coaching staff they had last year. They're missing a couple guys on defense, okay, and that's what RG3 was facing, a defense that had holes in it. So I'm going to hold off on RG3 beating out Cam Newton, but that's just my opinion.
Alright, so last Sunday, Chicago just crushed Indianapolis, and the Packers lost by 8 to San Francisco at home. This week, they play Thursday Night Football. David, your team didn't pull it out last week. Can they do it to a tough Chicago team this year?
I mean, everyone wants to talk about the 49ers beating the Packers. The Packers are what's going on with Green Bay. They're losing their composure. They don't look like the champions that they once were. This is a Green Bay Packers team who went 15-1 last year. I don't know what everyone is trying to hype up. They lose one game to a Super Bowl contender in the 49ers. Let's calm down here. They're playing at home. They're playing against a division rival Chicago Bears team who is good. But, I mean, I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers to win this week. And I'm going to try and I'm just telling everyone to just quiet down a little bit. Just because everyone wants to hype everything up all the time. Everyone wants to hype up Tim Tebow. Everyone wants to hype up the Jets. Hey, the Packers are losing. Let's hype that up. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's bring everything down back to earth. All right, let's take this 1 week at a time. The Packers are facing the Chicago Bears this week. All right, division rival game. The Bears are 1-0. The Packers are 0-1. Who do you like? Who do I like? I like the Packers. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, as your normal cheesehead self, you can't see what's right in front of you. You can't see the glaring problems that the Green Bay Packers have right now. The fact of the matter is, they lost. Not only did they lose to the San Francisco 49ers, they lost pretty bad. It wasn't a blowout or anything, but the score doesn't say much. It was 30-22, but if it wasn't for that late touchdown, it would have been worse than that. The 49ers were already up 23-7. They're already whooping Green Bay's ass. Aaron Rodgers was looking very complacent. I don't know what's going on with the Green Bay Packers right now, but they got to find something out. I'm going with Chicago. I think Chicago's looking great right now. They whooped the Colts last week. They're not going to whoop the Packers this week, but I'm very concerned for the Green Bay Packers. I think they're starting off at a bad start. They're still going to make the playoffs, but the NFC North is now a question because I think Chicago looks really good. Their offense finally seems to flow. Michael Bush and Brandon Marshall are looking like Pro Bowl additions to their team.
Hold on now. You just said the Chicago Bears are looking absolutely phenomenal when they played the worst team in the NFL last year, the Indianapolis Colts, 2-14. That's the team we're talking about right now. So, I mean, I can't believe you're serious right now. Yeah, Chicago's a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them. Their additions with Brandon Marshall, Michael Bush at the goal line has been great. They looked good last week. But you cannot, I mean, look at the two teams that both teams, the Packers and the Bears played. The Bears played arguably one of the worst teams in the league. The Packers played arguably one of the best. So, again, I'm sticking with Green Bay. I'm sticking with Green Bay. Their offense, I think, is gonna come back and look like they did last year, and they're gonna riddle the Bears secondary. And don't forget, the Packers have one of the most the most depth at wide receiver in the league. So Green Bay is my pick.
And how did those receivers look last week with Jordy Nelson? And I don't think Chicago's gonna have any problem with the Green Bay defense. Who does Green Bay have? Clay Matthews, who's too busy shoving HG up his ass to actually play defense. Sure, he got 2.5 sacks last week. Besides that, what is he doing in coverage? There's a reason Vernon Davis played so well last week. I got to go with Chicago here. I think they're going to win it, and I think it's going to be fairly easy.
All right, so next matchup, we got the Lions and the 49ers, like we just said, beat the Packers. James, who do you have in this one?
Well, for me, like I said, the 49ers, they look really good. I think they're going to come out. They're going to beat the Detroit Lions. They're not going to have a problem doing that. The Lions, they look pretty bad against the St. Louis Rams last week, but I'm not going to put too much stock into week one. The fact of the matter is the 49ers are looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. They're still staying there at the top. Alex Smith is getting better and better week after week, year after year. And the additions of Randy Moss, Mario Manningham, they're really helping this team out on offense. Now they look like an offensive team, but they're still majority defense, but now their offense is looking much better. Got to go with the 49ers to win this one.
I'm going to take the 49ers as well, but hitting on the Detroit Lions just a little bit from last week, they played a secondary that is actually underrated. They went and snatched up Cortland Finnegan in free agency from the Titans. They drafted Janoris Jenkins, who I think is going to be one of the sleepers for one of those picks in this last year's draft, who actually pays off just as long as they keep him in good standing when he's off the field. Now that secondary did pick Matthew Stafford off 3 times. I don't know if that's going to happen this week, but I think the game is going to be closer than people think. I think it's going to be up until the fourth quarter who has the ball in the end. I think it's going to be the 49ers. Granted, they're at home, but I like the 49ers to pull a win out against the Detroit Lions this week.
All right. So we got a Monday night football game between the Falcons and the Broncos. Matt Ryan had 4 total touchdowns, and Peyton Manning led his team to beat the Steelers on Sunday night football. Can Matt Ryan repeat, or can Peyton Manning pull a win out for the Broncos, David?
I'm actually gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons. I liked what I saw out of Peyton Manning. I'm not gonna take that performance away from him, even though I was wrong last week. Peyton Manning looked good. He came out, he did his thing, and the Broncos sealed the deal. They beat the Steelers in Week 1. On the other hand, you had the Falcons who just destroyed the Chiefs in Arrowhead. So now they're going to backtrack. They're going to go back to Atlanta. Broncos are coming in to town. I absolutely love what I saw out of Matt Ryan, out of Julio Jones. He distributes the ball so well between Julio, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, some of his other wide receivers that he has. I think it's going to be I don't want to say a shootout, but I think people are going to be surprised at how Matt Ryan performs this game, and I think he's going to have a better performance than Peyton Manning. I'm picking the Falcons 31. I'm going to give you a score even. I'm going to say 31-17 Atlanta over the Denver Broncos.
Well, I'm telling you, the Denver Broncos are going to win this one. Peyton Manning is back. You brought the name Tony Gonzalez. I mean, come on. This guy needs a walking stick. He needs to retire from the NFL. He's getting older by the minute. I'm pretty sure he's going to flame up into dust any second now. The Broncos are going to have no problem with the Falcons. Yes, the Falcons beat the Kansas City Chiefs last week, but let's remember they didn't have Tommy Ali. So, honestly, I got the Broncos in this game. Peyton Manning is taking over this team. He's bringing leadership. He's bringing everything to this team that this team needed last year, and they are a very good playoff team, and they really have a good chance of winning the AFC West.
Wow. Well, guys, that's all we got for you this week. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below, and I'll see you next week.